Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We made it to the end of Capstone, and I'm so excited to hear about all of your amazing adventures. In this video, I would like to share my amazing Capstone experience, specifically focusing on how OTs and ABA professionals can together unlock hidden potential in individuals on the autism spectrum. So going over to this first column over here. So to provide a little bit of background on this subject area, team-based approaches are the most ideal in healthcare, specifically for addressing core features and co-occurring conditions in autism. These can be seen as three different kinds of methodologies. However, interdisciplinary approaches where the roles are still separate, but in harmony with each other. As compared, not contrasting from transdisciplinary, which kind of is a full role release and full overlap of roles, or multidisciplinary, where we are kind of still in parallel with each other. Interdisciplinary approaches are that happy medium. And specifically, the unique collaboration between OT and ABA is extremely helpful to other members on the team, and other members on the team can include PT, speech therapy, nutrition, etc. However, since there's so much evidence about interdisciplinary collaboration, we would think that it would be pretty easy. Well, frequent challenges, specifically between OT and ABA, due to different backgrounds in education and different approaches to treatment planning and intervention, can hinder not only the collaboration specifically between OT and ABA, but also impact the team as a whole unit, ultimately impacting client outcomes. So therefore, there is a definite need to explore these interdisciplinary collaborations between OT and ABA together, specifically what they look like, and addressing some of those barriers and how we can have actionable strategies to improve them. Whoops. So this, as you could see by the top of the screen, to answer that question and meet those objectives, I conducted a scoping review of the literature using the PRISMA guidelines, searching various databases listed here, exploring OT and ABA using interdisciplinary models, specifically frameworks, or just general approaches and applications of interdisciplinary practice in peer-reviewed articles published between 2004 and 2024. And I use the JBI assessment tool to assess quality of evidence, and my Prisma diagram can be seen here. I started with 1,800 articles with the help of my OT colleagues, was able to screen title and abstract and full text, and recovered by the end of it 15 articles with various methodologies that met this criteria. The active ingredients highlighted in these 15 articles can be categorized into two themes, as shown in my thematic analysis table here. The first theme is about integrated treatments. Specifically, what does that look like during the session and immediately outside of the session? OT and ABA collaborated frequently, well, about once or twice a week with clients in either an outpatient setting or telehealth, specifically addressing those self-help and adaptive functioning skills, including functional communication, eating, self-feeding, using an integration of both sensory and behavior-based approaches. And to modify treatments, OT and ABA work together in weekly case conferences, specifically looking at modifying client goals or making new client goals or adapting the treatment plan as needed. The second theme pertains to how knowledge is translated or shared between OT and ABA, as that is an integral part of collaboration. Open communication is extremely important, and specifically communicating what the unique roles and responsibilities are as OTs, advocating for what we do, but also hearing out what the ABA providers do in their role. And before assuming based on preconceived misconceptions, hearing out the professionals of what they do and looking into their practice guidelines. There is definitely an expression of interest in having this knowledge translation, and also eagerness to learn new ways to do this better. And one specific way that stood out to me was a structured interprofessional competency development method specifically in the form of continuing education or formal in-service training. These courses were a couple hours to 3 hours, going over some of those topics, addressing those misconceptions, and giving the providers a chance to sit down together, since they often don't have a lot of time to do that, and talk about these problems or other things that come up. Another unique part of literature was specific coaching and supervision ideas for coaching and supervision interventions, where one-on-one trainings side by side helped OT and ABA providers kind of keep each other in check, and also give feedback to one another of how interventions are being implemented across settings, which really meets our common consensus goal of generalization of skills across contexts. So with this evidence, I was able to work with Bridgeway Academy, a nonprofit charter school here in Columbus, and develop an interdisciplinary education program that had not been previously done before. And specifically, we were able to pile up a what we called a interprofessional workshop titled "Building Bridges," as the title suggests. And this occurred over 4 weeks in hybrid format for about 1 hour each session. And the purpose was to enhance overall collaboration between OT and ABA staff and supporting staff at Bridgeway Academy, while enabling them to deliver higher quality, holistic care for their students. So my final program algorithm, it can be outlined here with 4 case vignettes. Each session, the first session was a little more facilitator directed, giving the kind of information from the scoping review, while introducing a case vignette, how it would work. The remaining 3 sessions focused specifically on the case vignettes that addressed 4 kind of key issues that came up in the literature. Specifically just basic strategies to collaboration, an introduction, the importance of client-centered care, the importance of data-driven interventions, and the importance of environmental modifications and positive behavior supports across disciplines. This was actually received very well by the staff at Bridgeway, and ultimately enhanced overall role clarity, communication skills, and client engagement on an interdisciplinary level. However, there are still ongoing challenges that were uncovered, specifically time constraints, maybe some organizational barriers, productivity standards, and a need for more ethical dialogue and practical case examples that highlight the importance of the sustained structured teamwork. And that's why these scores reflect a positive correlation between this workshop participation and interprofessional competence as measured by kind of 5 key domains. The lighter color represents ABA professionals' growth, and the OT professionals are represented by the dark color growth. And as you can see, there was a lot more growth with the OT, and you can interpret that meaning as you will. But this data is specifically for the 6 members who attended the workshop. By design in its consecutive way, completing the pre-ICAS measure or interprofessional collaborative competencies attainment scale score, and then completing that once again after the 3rd workshop and attending all 4 consecutively. So this is very much preliminary findings, but still very optimistic of how structured interprofessional education can be very beneficial. So in my experience, I served as the key facilitator, and there's us on our first day. And these are resources that Abby and I worked together to develop. Abby, my site mentor, developed to help future implementation of this workshop. And this represents the Mighty 6 that attended kind of all 4 on our final day. And overall shared very positive feedback about their workshop experience. I also had the opportunity to experience collaboration firsthand as a treating therapist, specifically working with a registered behavior technician, which is a type of ABA provider. And specifically, we worked together during sessions to support transitions between therapy spaces and also facilitate active engagement and participation throughout the session on the client's own accord, using both a combination of behavioral strategies and sensory breaks. First then language, etc. The co-op model, or the cognitive orientation to occupational performance model, is a evidence-based model with the treatment of autism specifically. So I created new resources for these and thought it was very valuable to add to the interdisciplinary toolkit. So those resources can be viewed here. I also had the amazing opportunity to share my work of my scoping review at two events: the Advanced Edward Hayes Forum at Ohio State University and the my first ever AOTA Inspire conference in Philadelphia this past week. Finally, a huge part of my capstone that I'm very grateful for is the LEND program, which is a leadership education in neurodevelopmental disabilities, ultimately giving interdisciplinary training to graduate students, licensed professionals, family members, and individuals with disabilities themselves, ultimately strengthening advocacy, awareness, and promoting equitable person-centered care through research, uh, pol- pol- uh, policy/advocacy, and also clinical practice. I saw clinical practice firsthand in this interdisciplinary clinic, interdisciplinary care clinic, or IDC clinic in the Nysanger Center, where I worked with various professionals listed here to provide a comprehensive developmental evaluation specifically for autism, which a lot of the clients I saw, but very much appreciated OT's role on the interdisciplinary team with that experience. I was also able to engage in a leadership project built from previous LEND trainees, literature review about the importance of interprofessional education. And we were able to pilot a case-based simulation exercise with Ohio State LEND trainees, University of Illinois, University of Chicago, Illinois Chicago LEND trainees, and UC, University of Cincinnati. And these findings were presented at Cincinnati Children's LEND Symposium this past week as well, in which this activity featured case vignettes that were developed with discussion questions, and LEND trainees across disciplines answered them together with the facilitator kind of moderating the entire process. So this very much inspired the project that was taking place at Bridgeway. So I am very grateful for the opportunity to be a part of it. And I am also grateful for the community engagement opportunities through LEND that I got to do, attending Developmental Disability Advocacy and Awareness Day at the State House, volunteering with Buddy Up for Life, and exploring some of nationwide children's community clinics, and just seeing how the impact of interdisciplinary collaboration directly influences in the community. So that is my capstone. I am very grateful to my entire team, my colleagues for helping me in my review, and all of my advisors for making this possible. And I look forward to seeing you all on Poster Day. Thank you.